Yo guys, Vision Gen here, back with more Minecraft content. Today's video, we have finally completed Minecraft. We have ticked off everything on the list for this series. This is the finale of the Minecraft Survival series as episode 25 that we set out 6 months ago to build a world, find every single structure, complete and conquer all of the bosses in the game, as well as exploring all biomes and also some guides along the way to help returning players like myself or any new players to this game, as well as to remind you guys this is the first time I'm playing Minecraft Survival in over 10 years. So on that note, let's get right into it. So I guess first things first, before we start the video, I wanted to just make it very, very clear that this will not be the last Minecraft series or episode to this channel. I just wanted to make that very clear before we continue on. But unfortunately, due to world corruption, the world series has to end here, with the episode being number 25. Now, in episode 15, I did give a more detailed update on the world, how it came to an end, unfortunately, which has led to me having to improvise. But fortunately, before the world actually corrupted, I did manage to obtain pretty much all of the content I wanted to complete this series, which was obtained sort of many weeks or months back at this point. And I wanted to do everything in this series, which includes the Wither Skeleton, the Trial Chambers, the Ancient City, the world updates, all of that sort of stuff, which has led us to this final episode. So what I'll do for this video, for any new or even returning viewers, is briefly summarize the full series from episode 1 to present day, and at the end discuss how I will proceed with the Minecraft content going forward. So to begin, this series started out with a base and world update, talking about the seed in itself and everything we had done to that point, who is in the world, how many players we were playing with, what difficulty it is, and any challenges we had endured to that point, and just summarize my overview as a Minecraft player. The second episode was on the Nether, which is a really good episode because I absolutely enjoy the Nether for the most part, especially on hard difficulty. It is a real challenge, which I know sounds really psychotic, but at the same time it is a really good challenge and something that Minecraft doesn't offer in any other area, especially in the overworld, unless of course you're playing on hardcore. And there's just many different challenges that I love about the Nether. And then we led onto the ancient debris and a full netherite guide in episode 3, which is really useful, especially for newer players, so go check that out in case you guys are interested. And then leading on to episode 4, we had the ocean monument. Now the ocean monument was one of the best structures that I had found and explored in Minecraft. This was one of the last things that was ever added back in the day. I think back in like 2016, I can't remember when it actually came out, but this was a structure that was added towards the last sort of final moments of me playing survival. I just never got around to completing it back then. So coming back to it, I would say, a little bit underwhelmed with how easy it was, but I at the time also did have netherite and diamond armor and stuff like that, so it did feel really easy for the right reasons. But I would say the ocean monument was one of the best structures that we had found and explored. And then we had my first base and world update, which was episode 5. Now in this episode, we sort of talked about the actual world in itself, how quickly it had progressed and grown, and what sort of ideas we had for the world with mega projects like a zoo and all of that sort of stuff. And then episode 6 was the Nether Fortress, explaining everything you need to know in preparation to explore one and what you'll find from a Nether Fortress. Then we had Trial Chambers at episode 7, again one of the best structures in all of Minecraft. What a great delight I had when first encountering this structure by just mining down below and mining into a copper dungeon. This was one of the best experiences of my entire time playing Minecraft in this world. Now the episode 8 was the first exploration episode for this series, which was me adding in some of Minecraft's lore into the sort of channel and the series in itself, which was making sure that we touched on some of the cool biomes that I absolutely love. And the first one was the jungle. Then episode 9 was about the Armour Trims. Now this was more of a guide to help new and returning players, because this is a new feature to myself, as I said, first time playing in a very long time. So Armour Trims was something that I was not aware of, and I thought it'd be useful for any other players like myself who hadn't played for a very long time, and help them with Armour Trims, understanding how you obtain them all, what they're used for, and so on. Then episode 10, back to this, we had a little bit of a trend on every 5 episodes to a certain point we produced a base and world update. So number 10 was a further base and world update where we went into a bit more detail on the world and how it expanded even more, as well as touching on other things with regards to endgame progress and the finale of the series, which we were of course leading to at the halfway point nearly by this time. And then also we had episode 11, which was the Mineshafts. Now the Mineshafts are a really underrated element in all of Minecraft, especially if you're playing on hardcore world, which are really useful to obtain loot and do it a bit more safely, as well as just being a great iconic original feature in all of Minecraft that I absolutely enjoy, and went into a bit more detail on that, especially for newer players. And then we had episode 12, which is the Bastions, the finale episode for the Nether, something I really enjoyed, as I said, going over and exploring in its entirety and understanding Bastions in more detail with how many different Bastion types there are, what you obtain from them, what to expect in preparation and stuff like that. That was a really useful episode, especially for myself, even creating, as I learned a lot more about the Nether in itself. And then we have the Strongholds of episode 13 on how you of course get to the end in the first place, obtaining one of these or finding one of them, and then leads me nicely onto episode 14, which was the end in itself, fighting the dragon, the end cities, all of that sort of stuff that comes after it, getting the Elytra. And then episode 15 was a final base and world update video where of course the world corruption happened, and that is where I sort of shared all of the details on what actually occurred, how it happened, what I think was the reason, and how we have to go about it going forward. And then for episode 16 we had more exploration with the sand, desert, and Mesa biomes. So every 8 episodes I like to have tried making a sort of exploration episode, which was to tie in the world's lore and sort of biomes and exploration in itself into the series, as I thought it's a fundamental aspect I really enjoy doing, something something I like doing in Minecraft is just generally exploring. Even if you have Netherite, it's just something that is fundamentally fun and iconic about this game, and something I never get bored of in its entirety. And then we had episode 17, which was the deep, dark, the ancient cities, one of the most terrifying experiences in all of my gaming, not just Minecraft, because I do not understand to this date how this thing is in Minecraft for a 3+ year old game, but that structure and one of those biomes is just one of the most entertaining environments to have been in, especially on co-op playing with other friends who are also terrified as grown men, playing that sort of in that environment and just not really knowing what you're doing, losing all instincts of survival and just really just not understanding what was going on. The first time encountering that was something to say the least. I absolutely loved that episode and recording all of the details about that one, so go check that out because that was actually really funny, because there's just so much going on in the ancient cities, so much about the deep dark that is unknown, and all of that sort of stuff was just a really good time in itself and one of my favorite structures to explore in all of Minecraft. Then we had episode 18, which was about the trading in itself, which is almost like a guide for anyone newer to this game to help you guys in understanding how best to trade and how to get yourself established in all of Minecraft using emeralds and stuff like that. Then we had fishing, which was episode 19, going a bit more detail on just fishing in itself, another guide, but more so just me making sure I touched on that element of the game, a really underrated aspect in my opinion, something that I really enjoy and for the most part is really useful, especially for early game, or of course if you're on hardcore and you want to obtain for yourself a food source or some cool loot, but you don't want to take the risk of going down below mining and all that sort of stuff. Then we had episode 20, which is on the raids, how to start one, how to complete them, all of the sort of details that you guys should have in preparation for completing a raid, especially if you're the first time like myself doing one of these, because this was one of the best aspects in all of Minecraft, one of the most fun activities that I'd completed in this series, something that I would definitely recommend at the highest level with regards to how many emeralds you'll obtain, how much fun you'll have, and also a challenge in itself. And then we had episode 21, which was on the Elytras, getting the sort of more of a guide in its such to help new and returning players like myself who hadn't actually got one in itself before in survival, and all of the details involved with actually obtaining one after the dragon, getting to the end cities, and all of the extra details that you guys will need, because I found that guide really useful for both myself and also to think that it was really useful for newer players as well. And for our world, one of the key rules that I made very clear to anyone new playing in our world was that you had to earn your own Elytra properly. You had to defeat the dragon yourselves. You had to then go and find an Elytra without an Elytra and do it properly, because that's what me and my friend originally did. And then when other players came along to our world, that was something that we found was just like a required lore thing for this world in order to make it fair and balanced and also just more enjoyable. But it did turn out that I then had to defeat the dragon like 6 different times, which was great because I became an expert by the end of it, but also finding an Elytra, that then led to me going about 10,000, maybe even 15,000 blocks in almost every direction, trying to find an Elytra for my friend, who then had to just travel, of course, on foot for the most part, find portals and try and transfer around the nether in the end in itself, which is a really fun experience. But for the self, it helps you guys, especially if you're new to the game, with a guide on how to get an Elytra and all that sort of stuff. So go check that out in case you guys are interested. Then episode 22 was on the Woodland Mansions, the rarest structure in all of Minecraft, I believe, one of the hardest things to find in this world, and what basically stimulated to the fact that we corrupted the world by having to explore a ridiculous amount of blocks in our world, having to go really far in every single direction to try and find this structure, to tick it off the list, but also just to experience what it was like. This actually was, I think, a contributing reason as to why the world corrupted in its first place, and I wouldn't necessarily say it was even worth it, of course, because of course we lost the world and it corrupted and we lost so much progress and all that sort of stuff, but for the most part it was just a really sort of general structure. Didn't really get that great loot. Of course the experience and finding one was definitely fun, but just generally there isn't a great amount of loot there, of course, unless you find one. Luckily through the early game this isn't really an end game structure that I would suggest, although it is definitely difficult and something you have to probably do or achieve by the later game. There just isn't really a great deal of loot. Of course you will get totems of undying, one of the few places you can actually get these as well as those raids, but just generally it was not the greatest experience that I would say to this point, and I think that is partly skewed to the fact that we lost the world and it almost compromised everything anyways. But I'd also say it's more so that the game just has so many other fun features such as trial chambers, ancient cities, and all of the rest that I've just gone over in this video, so I think that just maybe thinks that this just ranks lower down on the list. Although fun and entertaining, if it was easier to find it would definitely be more viable, but for the most part I wouldn't suggest it. And then we had episode 23, which is almost like the finale in itself in terms of challenges and bosses, which was on the Wither, defeating the Wither finally after all of this time, the first time I'd ever done it, and just something that I went over in a lot more detail. And then we had episode 24, the sort of final exploration episode in the series, which was about the snow biomes, the ice, the sort of tundras, the taiga biome, the ice peaks, all that sort of stuff, and just went into detail finally on a bit more of the exploration in the world. And then we had this episode, of course, which is episode 25, and as such we've officially ticked off everything on the list of everything we wanted to do in Minecraft. But going forward I did want to make sure that I did not stop playing Minecraft, and more importantly stopped creating content for you guys who have been enjoying seeing Minecraft survival content on a weekly basis, as I have done now for 6 months. So as a result of the unfortunate world corruption, but ultimately as we also managed to complete the series, me and my friends have effectively wanted to go at it again and play Minecraft survival again, but this time we've made it a more interesting world, having one of the coolest seeds that I've ever had and found, where we'll go into more detail, make this our new forever world, and however this time it's going to be different because it's on a realm which had hosted hopefully help us avoid corruption from what I found researching, and also allow me to finally have a world which I'm hoping to continue and play for years now, but building mega projects, further exploring Minecraft in itself, developing some world lore, establishing a community for anyone watching. And if you guys are interested as well, feel free to let me know down below if you guys want to play and be a part of that world, because you're absolutely welcome. And with regards to the content going forward, for anyone still here watching this video, firstly, I would like to thank you for supporting the channel. I massively appreciate every single one of you. And as for what's to come, I have planned ahead, and I've decided that I'll aim to produce at least one new Forever World video a month. And now, as well as the Forever World that we started again, I've also been playing Hardcore Survival for the first time ever. Now that this has been a challenge to say the least, that I would definitely not recommend unless you of course are experienced or have the patience to play this. But I thought once a month it would be cool to share with you guys how I'm progressing through that world, because I basically set out a mini goal for that series, which is to essentially defeat the Ender Dragon, which requires establishing a more sort of secure base, making it safe, heading to the Nether for blaze powder, Netherite and all that sort of stuff, and more importantly then eventually getting to fight the dragon in the end, and hopefully getting there without losing my hardcore world. So wish me luck on that journey, and hopefully I can continue to share all of my progress once a month, my tips and tricks as a Minecraft Survival completionist player now, don't forget that, and some cool moments of course just in itself with completing Minecraft Survival, and then hopefully completing Minecraft Survival on hardcore, which is something I would like to be able to say one day, and hopefully that we can achieve in that world. It starts out really well so far, and I will get around to start making some content as soon as possible. And then finally, as well as the Forever World and the Hardcore Survival World, I'm also going to look at making some more guides, biome updates, and world exploration, as well as some other cool videos to help new and returning players, so look out for them in case you guys are either new to the channel or Minecraft in general, or a returning player like myself who hasn't played for a very long time and looking to have some sort of down-to-earth guides for players who aren't experts, but players like myself who are new to the game. They're not casual by any means, like you can play the game at a bit more of an advanced level, but you're also looking to play the game at a bit of a slower pace. Now with that said, hopefully that gives you guys an idea on what's to come on this channel. I want to continue playing Minecraft for as long as possible, even with all the other games that I play and create content for on this channel, in case you guys weren't aware, for Marvel Rivals, Call of Duty with types of Warzone, Zombies, Battlefield, Borderlands, all that sort of stuff, so stay tuned. And in summary, for this finale episode for number 25, we have officially completed Minecraft Survival, from the building, exploring, defeating bosses, finding, looting, and conquering all of the world structures, as well as sharing guides along the way to help new and returning players, which I'll continue to do as I've mentioned throughout the video. If you guys have enjoyed the video, do not forget to like and subscribe, and comment down below if you have any tips that you might have for any returning players like myself to the game, or any newer players. And of course, as I have now completed Minecraft Survival, please do not forget to like and subscribe, because that would be something that I would really appreciate, especially like I said, as a small creator, and also having completed Minecraft now for the first time. This is something I definitely think is worthy of a subscribe. So let me know down below in the comments if you guys have any issues or any suggestions that you want to see for future videos, as well as any cool clips, tips, or tricks that you want to share for any newer and returning players like myself. I've Visionless Gen. I hope you enjoyed the video and have enjoyed this content, and I'll see you in the next one.